Good evening, America, and welcome to Vinny's Take. Today, instead of being in my house on my comfortable chair wearing my luchador mask, I come to you from my car dressed in my patriotic mask. I do have my NFL hat on because I want to talk about the NFL, but I also want to talk about America. Now, tomorrow is 9/11, and I plan on doing something tomorrow morning to commemorate 9/11 as I always do, but tonight is opening night in the NFL. Tonight, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans play. Tonight, you will see, if you watch the whole pregame show, you will see the NFL players take the field and most likely take a knee during the national anthem. And I have stressed time and time again how I disagree with this form of protest and how I feel that the conversation isn't being had, isn't happening. I've looked in on my channel on how it all started, how Colin Kaepernick began the protest and where it comes from. But what I want to talk to you today is about the protest and that it's happening, and that I stress that you shouldn't watch, if you don't agree with it, you shouldn't watch the pre-games. But don't. What I do want to talk about is how you should not give up on something you love just because other people are mistreating it. I have a hair. There we go. Other people are mistreating it. In your own way. On your own time. Remember what this country is about. Well, remember what happened 19 years ago tomorrow. And how many people ended up having to fight and lose their lives so that we could have athletes go out and take a knee. Now, I don't agree with it, and I'm sure many of you don't either. But why are we letting a disagreement cost us something we love? The NFL is by far has been the most popular sport in America the last 20, maybe 30 years. But the ratings have gone down. Whether people want to admit it or not, they have. Same with the NBA, same with the NHL. It's not necessarily about the protests either, or that they're happening. It's about there's a certain portion of our population that feels that they cannot speak, that they cannot tell their side of the story. They're not being allowed to. Now, some of us have means where we can tell a story, we can tell our feelings, we can share our thoughts through YouTube or Facebook. But there's no dialogue. I would love to have a discussion with someone who is pro-kneeling and pro the protest. But of course, I'm afraid, like most other discussions in 2020, it's really raining out, discussions in 2020, that it would come back to bite me. That it would turn into an argument. It would turn into accusations. And that's really not what we need. Not today. Not ever. So tonight I will tune in to watch the Chiefs and Texans. I won't watch the pregame show. And you see this hat there? And I have another mask right here. These are my last purchases of the NFL merchandise. I don't know for how long. I spent a lot of money in my life. I'm 41 years old, and I have been watching football since 1988, and I've spent a lot of money on the NFL. Through tickets, through DirecTV Sunday Ticket, video game, merchandise, you name it, I've bought it. But until the NFL, the owners, the players, are willing to actually have dialogue about the reason they're protesting and why some people get offended by it, well, then you don't need to have my money. It's a very simple thing. Let's discuss why I and others disagree with your protest without automatically accusing us of being some kind of nasty, inhuman subordinate. My thoughts have always been this. I recognize your right to protest. I recognize your right to peaceful protest. It's in the Constitution. It does not mean I have to agree with it. The protest started over police brutality, especially toward one segment of our population. But the numbers say that there is more than just one segment been affected. The numbers also say that it isn't quite what it's being portrayed to be. And it goes both ways. I want you to do a little homework. I want you to look up the numbers, the actual physical numbers of deaths at the hands of the police officer for all races. And then I want you to look at the number of deaths of police officers by civilians. And you tell me who should be protesting. So tonight, as every night for the last 32 years, every opening day I should say, I tune in. But it's different this year. I'm not rooting for the players in the uniform. I'm just watching something I love. I can put aside a lot for that. Trust me. But anyway, that's my take. I will have a message tomorrow. I will be social media dark from 8:46 to whenever the second tower, 11:07 or something like that. But I'll have a posting after that. Sitting right here in my car, wearing my patriotic mask, and my yearly thing, I'm going to tell you my story, where I was 19 years ago. Until then, have a good night, America. If you're watching football, enjoy it, and if you're not, I understand. But enjoy your night, and God bless America.